Hey, Shalom, Shalom, call halal, Yahaba, Shemel, Shabba, Shemel Kakadash. Back on the move, double honor to the apostles, a great millstone, of course. Salutations to the elect, man. Man, Jake Curse, man, just came up out of the car wash shit. So you got like the machines that do it for you now, depending on where you at. And I think he Israelite foreigner, so he looked white though. Maybe Irish, Italian or something. Or he possibly could be an Edomite, who knows, but he would sit out there because the machine don't do but, so good of a job on your car. So he sit out there and ask, get the extra touches off for of course, a couple more dollars. And he got his little clientele for being out there for so long. And Jake catches on to his hustle. These guys are addicts, just trying to make a dollar. They got their problems or, their substance abuse or whatever, mental health issues, whatever they suffer from. And they basically try to build on his foundation. But little do they know, he been out there for a nice little minute, so he got people he deal with. I even dealt with him, was looking for the touch my rims, hubcaps and shit up. Spots that's hard to reach. And but he wasn't there. But so these two Jakes trying to build on his foundation, but everybody going to him. And it's funny, the people that's even, so-called black, or what you would call, I made the wrong turn, what you would call, or did I? Yeah, I did, fuck. What you would call black, going to him, and they can't figure out, like, why the fuck, our own people is choosing this white boy to give their money to than us. And they thirsty as hell. But, Jake is cursed, man. And they whole approach, they ain't humble. They too eager. Them guys that be too eager and too thirsty. Unless I'm like returning a car or some shit, or something extra. I don't really need all. I vacuum out my own shit, 1, 2, and keep it smoking. But our people curse is fucked up. Then I was checking out. It's back to school time. Shalaki and Paul, I'm on the road and shit. It's back to school time. And I forget about that shit. This is like to be a parent, even if you like a parent of 2 or 3, right? 1, maybe not that bad, right? But man, to be a parent around now fucking sucks. Because I don't know how shit changed, because, I don't have children. But, with this whole back to school time shit, I remember you got to get sneakers, clothes, coats, fucking pencils, notepads, maybe even tablets and all kinds of shit for the kids to go back to school. Because that shit was like, back, and it's a whole prep stage you got to do. Then back to school time, land around the 1st. See, back then we had work ethic. and summer jobs and shit like that, which will help pay for what we wanted, because we wanted like Timberlands and shit like that. So moms couldn't afford that shit. Now looking back on it, it was kind of wicked in a sense to oppress her to buy us these expensive ass boots and shit. But, she did what she could do or whatever, Then, and if the kids don't get what they want, they go back to school, because kids are ruthless, man. They be getting joked on, they cracking jokes on them and shit, and you kind of force to get them what they want based off of what society say is cool. And you see now inflation, that shit has went up, and the pay rate basically, minimum wage went up, but nowhere near how inflation jumped. So like a pair of fucking Timberlands for adult, them shit's like $250. I remember they was $100 even, or like $110. You know what I mean? For some some black joints, like $110. I don't like I still wear throwback shit like Wallabies, fucking Maury. I got Gators and shit like that. I got bullshit I wear too. Like I'm not, man make the clothes don't make the man. Also Sirach 11:4, it says boast not of thy, of your clothing and shit. But, I don't, people struggle for identity. You know what I mean? And I know who I am in the spirit, and, from dealing with the Lord, and know that we Hebrew Israelites, you know what I mean? And your calling in the truth in his life. So I could wear some fucking light up sneakers and not give a fuck who say what. But unlike these children, and it's your parents' fault too, because y'all don't teach them to care less of what somebody think about them, and you know what I mean, and like you could tell them that, but you gotta gradually install that in them to where they actually care less about what the world think, because it's about what they think of themselves. Fuck what the world think. The Lord gonna destroy 2/3. So, and this is like a real strenuous month. And like coming August and the beginning of September, with the whole back to school shit. And the good thing, a couple brothers I know, they homeschool their kids, which is good, because you ain't got to deal with all that shit. You know what I mean? They wife is at home with the kids, and she got the curriculum that she teach them, and the motherfuckers ain't got to get dressed to learn. She probably, wash their face, brush their teeth, comb their hair, some shit. You know what I mean? Sit his ass down. Motherfucker got on pajamas. He could learn fractions in pajamas. So, like, that whole school world is fucked up. And you know what I mean? And it's a super way to oppress. Because once the kids... it's a wise saying, your peers have more influence over you than your parents. So once the children feel like, they're not keeping up with the world, then some of these, they go to these public schools, a lot of them try to have them wear uniforms and shit, but still, they sneakers still could be like any, I still see them with like the slacks or whatever, but they still be having on J's and shit like that. So a lot of these parents, though, they be like drug dealers, weed sellers, and shit like that. Or they might just have a prestigious, they might be nurses or doctors or attorneys and shit. And if you can't keep up to like what they make and shit like that, so your kid, I remember feeling like that. You feel, that's why this world gotta go. Or, having kids, you gotta make more wise like decisions on like, hey, I was watching some shit. Oh, I think it was Black Ram or one of them, maybe Ohim. But he was like, man, the reason I never had kids, he finally had one. I think it was Ohim. He was like, because I never really had shit to give him. And I was like, damn, that's kind of like, you know, I kind of feel him on that aspect. Because you like, yo, you don't really, like, you ain't got shit to pass down or, like, at least give them a decent childhood. How fucked up this world is. You know, then kids feel neglected and left out. Then they go through that they don't feel love stage. And they just turn into fucking monsters and rebels, man. So, yeah, man, you know, with that, I just want to touch on a few pointers, you know, that I've been analyzing. Hey, brothers who kids grown, I know they fucking happy as hell. Like, yeah. You know what I mean? But, like, that whole stage of their childhood to, like, you know, teenage years until they go into adulthood. Then when they go into adulthood, you still got to worry about, like, little shit they be doing. They might knock somebody up. They might get arrested and all kinds of shit, man. You know, it's a wise saying, he who raises his kids won't have to raise his grandkids. And he who don't raise his kids will have to raise his grandkids. Meaning, you know, if you raise your kids and bring them up right, you know, train up a child in the way he should go, for the most part. You know, because this is a wicked world. Anybody could go astray and be a rebel. But if you bring them up right, you know what I mean, you won't have to worry about raising your grandkids because they're going to naturally bring up your grandkids right. And they're going to naturally want to do shit with them and want to spend time with them and do things with them. So they ain't going to be dumping them on you, trying to still chase the life that they missed out as a child, because that's what happens. You know, so, and if you don't raise your kids, the flip side of that, if you don't raise your kids up, you know, they grew up neglected, they felt unloved, they didn't have much, they had a fucked up childhood, they barely went anywhere, you gonna have to raise your grandkids, because they gonna be out there fast, having kids, babies, but they ain't gonna really be wanting them to be a parent like that. They gonna be chasing the thrill of having fun still, and they gonna be bringing their kids to you. I see it all the time. But these new grandmoms is different. They'll tell your ass quick, like, don't be, I love my grandbabies and everything, but don't be bringing them motherfuckers over here. You know what I mean? Like, I got shit I'm doing, you know, because these new grandmoms is like fast. They different from Big Mama and them, for real. You know, Big Mama basically extinct. If they ain't dead, they on their way out, but these new grandmoms is fucking different. You know, they like 45, 50, and they still hip, and they out clubbing and shit. They ain't trying to be no fucking in the house all day with the maybe very few of them, but like, you think you about to just come, have these babies, and they'll tell you quick, I raised my kids, I raised y'all, you gotta figure something out. Or some shit like that. You know, so, hey, man. But that's Babylon for you. You know what I mean? And that's why the Lord said, you know, it's best to, you know, they that have wives be as though they had none. And if you ain't got no wife and no kids in this bitch, try to keep it like that. Because that's just another way. I mean, and, you know, do what you want. You know what I mean? If you choose to have kids, there ain't no law against that. Do what you want. It's up to you. But, you know, based off of wisdom, what the scriptures say, it's best to, like, wait for the kingdom, which is around the corner, because prophecy is, like, heavy at hand. But, hey, with that, man, you know, shalom, Yahweh shalom.